Hey guys, Ryan here with Louisiana Academy of Performing Arts. We're here doing another Lagniappe lesson. Today we're going to be on the keyboard talking about how to formulate the 5 different types of 7th chords by just moving one note at a time. So in order to do this, we're going to use the key of C. All too great. Makes it easy to visualize on that keyboard using all those white keys. So you're probably already very familiar with the C major chord, triad, whatever you call it. So we're going to actually play it as a root, 3rd, 5th, and a root on top as well. So we're going to have the notes C, E, G, and C, another C on top. That makes us a nice pretty C major arpeggio or chord. Now what we do from this point is we're going to start moving tones 1/2 step at a time to change this chord, the C chord, into these different 7th chords that we use in jazz, R&B, soul, all types of music. So the first move we need to make is we have a root, a 3rd, a 5th, and a root. We're trying to make 7th chords. We need a 7 in there. So where's the 7th note of the scale? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here it is. It's B. So that's the first note I'm going to move to. I'm going to move the C down a 1/2 step to B. And by doing that, now I have 4 tones represented. I have the root, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th. This makes what's called the C major 7th chord. Has a little bit more color than the traditional C chord, right? Here's C again, here's C major 7. So again, all I did was move my C down to B to get this C major 7th chord. And that's the first major chord in our family we're going to go to. The next is going to be the dominant 7th chord. In order to get the dominant 7th chord, if you know a little bit about chords, you may have heard that the dominant 7th is called the major minor 7th. And what that really means is it's got the C major chord, the triad, on the bottom, but instead of having B, the major 7th from the C major scale, we're actually going to lower it 1 more 1/2 step to B flat. So we're borrowing the 7th from the minor scale. And what we have now is C, E, G, and B flat. We just move that 7th down. So the formula for this chord you can think of as 1, 3, 5, flat 7. That gives us the dominant 7th chord. All right? So the next chord we're going to go to is the minor 7th chord. Now if you know a little bit about major and minor, you know to make a C major, a C minor chord, you have to move the E down to E flat. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to move this E tone right in the middle of the chord, that 3rd, we're going to move it to E flat. So now we have root, flat 3rd, 5th, flat 7th. And that gives us the C minor 7th chord. Much darker sound, right? The major chords. And this is also, if you know your scales and you know your C minor scale, you actually recognize the notes I'm playing as the 1st, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th note from the minor scale. But if we're looking at it and thinking in terms of C major, we think of this tone as being a lowered 3rd and this tone as being a lowered 7th. We still have our original root and our original 5th. The next chord we're going to make has 2 names. It's called the minor 7 flat 5 chord, which is the better way for us learning it to think of it as, but it's also called half-diminished. We're not going to worry about why it's called that. But all we have to do to make a minor 7 flat 5 is to have a minor 7 chord, and we're going to take that 5 and do what with it? Well, we're going to flat it, right? Minor 7, but with a flat 5. So now we have a C minor 7 flat 5 chord, otherwise known as C half-diminished. So we're almost there. We've gotten 4 of the types of 7th chords. We have 1 more. So the last one is actually called a diminished 7th or a fully diminished 7th chord. It has the root, flat 3rd, the flat 5th, and what we're going to do to get there is we're going to move that flat 7 and make it a double flat 7. So now we have our C fully diminished chord. Now, if you're looking at the note I'm playing and going, hold on, that's an A. Isn't that the 6th of the scale? Well, yes, it is, actually. But here's the thing about the chords. We want to stack 3rds. We want to think of 3rds. So in order to keep that continuity of those odd numbers, always going up in 3rds, we have to think of this A as a double flat 7. And now we have this fully diminished 7th chord. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back up. So when I practice this or think about doing this or apply it to different keys, I'll start out with the parent major chord, root 3rd, 5th root, work my way all the way down to here, and then work my way back up, going through and thinking about the chords I'm forming. So let's move in reverse order. So when I went from minor 7 flat 5 to this fully diminished chord, I moved the 7 to a double flat. So to get back, I'm going to need to move that 7th up. So I'm going to raise that A back up to B flat. So now we have root, flat 3rd, flat 5th, and a flat 7. right? That's half diminished. Now, or minor 7 flat 5. So if I want to make this a minor 7 chord, which is going back up the ladder of the chords we made, I just have to undo the flat 5, don't I? So I'm going to bring that 5, that G flat, back up to G. Now we're back at minor 7th. The next step is to make the dominant 7th chord. Remember, that's got the major on the bottom and it's got that minor 7th on top. So I'm going to have to transform the C minor triad in the bottom of my chord voicing back to a C major. So I need to move the E from E flat back to E. Here we go. Now we have dominant 7th, C, E, G, B flat. And now we just have a couple more steps to make. We need to bring that 7th back up to that major 7th, right? Because we're trying to move from dominant 7th to major 7th. So I move that B flat up to B, and here we are, back at C major 7. And if I make my last move, moving that 7th back up to the root again, I'm back to just your good old C major, our favorite little chord, right? And you can do this to every key. So for example, just really quickly, I'll do D, right? I just have my D chord in my hand. I just have to remember which notes are what and how to move them. I move the 7th, right? Root down to 7th. Then I move to flat 7. Root, 3rd, 5th, flat 7. Now I have to flatten 3rd, minor 7th. Then I have to flatten the 5th, make a minor 7 flat 5. And then last but not least, I flatten the 7 one more time to a double flat 7, and I have that fully diminished chord. And then I can make my way back up. Minor 7 flat 5, minor 7th, dominant 7th, major 7th, major. We are back where we started. It's a great exercise. You'll learn to see your chords and start to kind of visualize all your 7th chords. Here's a tip. As you're starting to learn these chord shapes, a thing to keep in mind, the way that I think of chords and remember them is the pattern of white and black keys they have. So for example, if I want to play a G minor 7, I know it's white, black, white, white. It helps me. Start at G, black, white, white. So now that I start to learn different sets of 7th chords, I can use that little tip to start to remember them. F minor 7 will be white, black, white, black. Right, it's a great way to visualize chords. And then once you have that visualization, you can start to kind of use that for inversions if you'd like. You can, if I take a white, black chord and invert it, I'm just going to put the white on top. So now it just changed to black, white, black, white. You can think of it in that way. White, black, white, black. Black, white, black, white. White, black, white, black. It's a cool thing to do. I think that's enough for one day. That's plenty for you guys to sit down and practice with. If any of you guys watching has a question, feel free to ask me or, reach out in some way. We'll try to help you out. But that's going to be all for today. Thank you for watching, and this has been Ryan with Lagniappe Lessons.